thank you all for joining this first, I suppose, coffee break of the Midlands PDN network that we've not really limited to the Midlands network. So welcome anyone from anywhere else in the country. We have got quite a small group, which I think is good for today as a bit of a test. I think it allows to have some discussions rather than it being a really one-way thing. So what I propose to do, if it's all right with everyone else, is just run around who's on the call, just to get a bit of insight into your name, who you work for, and a short background introduction. So I'll kick off. So I'm Dan Mee, Principal Integrity Engineer at Cadent in the gas distribution side, and I'm this year's Midlands Branch PDN committee chair. So working with the PIG to grow and develop the professional development network, and I'll come on a bit more as to what that means in a couple of slides. But yeah, just really keen to get everybody's insights and input in today, and hopefully we'll all go away with some thoughts and things to think about. So Nicola?
Yeah, so I'm Nicola Asker. I'm a senior asset manager at National Gas in Transmission. So I'm heading up building our 10-year plan for all our compressor stations, which will go into our submission to Ofgem later this year. Just recently joined the committee after entering the competition last year and winning the Midlands round. So I'll probably talk more about that later. But yeah, looking forward to meeting some other people.
Okay. Great. So David Rankin.
Hi there, I'm David Rankin, currently work for Scottish Water, looking to attend and get a bit more information. I work with TSA, which is our Technical Assurance and Standards. So Martin Faulds had recommended that I attend some of these Pipeline Industry Guild meetings and get a bit more information on the guild.
Yeah, so my name's Tom Dawes. I work for Cadent Gas. I'm the project supervisor for the pre-delivery / F schedule for Cadent Gas. So working across all networks in Cadent on heat exchangers, water bath heaters, and other associated projects.
Great. Oh, nice one, Tom. Declan?
Yeah, I'm Declan Gota. I work for Safe Limited. And I work on detailed designs for above and below 7-bar AGIs. And it was Pete Sykes-Tucker that recommended I join today. So okay, yeah, just want a bit more information about the PIG, really.
Great.
Hader?
Yeah, Hader Ali. I work with Declan Gota, also same reasons for joining, to be honest. But I'm civil engineer, so do more so pipe supports, kind of foundation designs, whatnot. Yeah, been in the industry not too long, to be fair. Just started about a year and a half ago, so a lot to learn.
Okay, great. Nigel Taylor?
I'm a chartered surveyor. I work on land rights, as in easements for pipelines and trying to make sure that the engineers can carry on working on the jobs or getting new rights, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cheers, Nigel. Pete? Yeah, David?
Yeah, my name's David Wemmenham. I work with Declan Gota and Safe Limited. I'm a mechanical design engineer, and we carry out designs for AGIs and also buried and surface pipelines for natural gas distribution. So we've been carrying out pretty much, design works for the past 2 years or so, and it's been fun working with Declan and the rest of the team. And I believe I will be able to acquire more knowledge, learn more from this community. And since I was invited by Declan, so I think it makes a lot of sense to benefit with the team. Yeah.
Had a good turnout from Safe Limited.
Yeah, Peter will be getting a big pat on the back for that. So just got a couple of bits to run through before we get on to the main event, really, which is more of a discussional topic. So a bit about the guild. We've been around for 60 odd years as an organisation to look at all things pipelines. So regardless of what it transports, be it gas, water, sewerage, hydrocarbons, petrochemicals. The guild is sort of there to support and promote and collaborate to drive that best practice and development in the area. So as an organisation, it comes together, bringing together contractors, clients, asset owners, consultants, and anyone in the supply chain really in the pipeline industry. So supported by a very small but capable team at the HQ, headed up by Kate Lazenby, and sort of on in the background we've got Zara and Catherine, who are very helpful in arranging these sorts of events and keeping the pig going and on the straight and narrow. So really well supported by a small team in comparison to the size of the operation. And then, so if we go on to sort of how the guild operates, it sort of works with its members to manage the organisation, direction of travel, and with a series of events throughout the year, from technical days, training days, along with social events and industry panels looking at a range of things, both in the UK and internationally. So the guild is split up into 8 regions as well. I mean, each of the regions is encouraged to have a professional development network beneath the main branch, who are there to support and build that talent pipeline into the main branch, looking at development areas. So hosting these sorts of CPD events, training days, as we've got the annual training day coming up, and we're looking to grow that and improve that throughout the year and get additional events on. And one of the key, I suppose, showpieces for the PDN is the national paper competition that is run in each of the regions, with the final then held on the day of the pig conference in May. So looking forward to that for the year. So focusing on my area in the Midlands, so we've got, as it stands, we've got quite a small committee, sort of sat at the top, and a very gas heavy committee. So one of the reasons for hosting these sorts of events really is to reach out into the guild, look for potential members that could join the committee, be it through their own personal development, be it through they've got something to offer in terms of an event. But we're really looking to grow that network and grow that committee to give a diverse range of events throughout the year. As with the current committee, we are limited to gas to an extent. So some of the objectives that I've set us for this year moving forward. Number 1, as we've just touched on, growing that committee membership and getting a broad spectrum of people involved. We've got the competition, which is booked in for the 25th of March, with registration now live. So if anyone in the call wants to join and attend that competition, it will be held on the 25th in the evening at Cadent HQ in Coventry. We're looking at building our brand as the development network through the PDN branch page, through the YouTube channel, through the LinkedIn, and any sort of social platform or the guild newsletter that we've got. So we're looking to try and build that and grow that to get more interest and get more involvement. And then finally, host a series of webinars such as this one in order to promote and develop members of the guild and their young people that are developing in that area. So without further ado, going on to the topic of today really, which is a bit of a development diary, we've called it. We might change its name if we get a better one. But the idea being is want to try and showcase some of the people that are in the professional development network, how they've got there, what they've done in their career, and any advice that they can offer new members of the guild, new members of the committee, and essentially look at providing that support. So Nicola, we've obviously heard from you a bit of an introduction. So we've just got a couple of questions really that we'll run through, and what I think we'll probably do, as we discussed earlier, is I'll pick one and then throw it out to the floor for any other questions, or might pick on some of you and ask questions around your roles and experiences and things like that. So I suppose, Nicola, what sort of led you to joining the pipeline industry and National Gas?
So did engineering at uni, but couldn't really choose between the types. So I did both electrical and mechanical. But I actually got then a scholarship through the IET, which was all about sort of the power industry and energy industry. So very much then started to tailor my degree in the kind of energy sector. And in one of those classes, just got really interested in sort of the whole regulated business and National Grid and its kind of role at the heart of that. So after doing a bit of volunteering and stuff, I applied to the National Grid graduate scheme, and I originally applied to the electricity side, so I wasn't even trying to get into gas or pipelines, but because of a sort of freak snowstorm, my assessment centre got like postponed, so ended up having to apply for the gas side because they'd filled all the electrical spaces. So really it's just chance that I ended up here. But yeah, the more I sort of learned about the gas industry, I was like, yeah, no, that sounds just as interesting. Cool, great. So ended up in the graduate program and sort of worked my way around doing different placements in sort of gas transmission and the sort of system operator side of National Grid. And then for the last 8 years, I've been in the same team really, but we've changed what we do quite a few times in that period. So now what we do is planning the kind of 10-year investment that we need for the network. And as mentioned earlier, we recently got sold off, so we are now National Gas, not National Grid anymore. But yeah, that's how I kind of ended up here. So yeah, fluke. And then it was interesting, so I stayed.
No, fair enough. I'm not sure that I definitely can't top a fluke snowstorm for getting in the industry. I don't know if anyone else on the call would like to share how they got into the industry. I'm not going to pick on people, but if you want to share your insight, I'd be really appreciated.
I started as a temp for I think it was 4 months with East Midlands Gas Board back in 1984 because they were computerising their customer service system and they wanted somebody that knew something about computers. But I didn't get the job. But the guy that did get the job didn't turn up. So they rang me up and said, could you come tomorrow? Well, being skint and unemployed for 2 years, graduated and no employment anywhere, I sort of said yes. And it wasn't until I actually sort of left to safeguard my pension rights, because of something that lovely National Grid had done, and then I rejoined National Grid a month later as part-time, but I actually got a contract, because until then I'd been, temporary.
Wow.
So I actually worked for them on a temporary basis for sort of 30 odd years. But that's the gas board. So that's how I start.
So I suppose then on Nicola, then looking at falling into the industry then and falling into pipelines, and I suppose starting off in the power sector, what sort of development have you had in place to support you in that transition into gas?
So I think we were quite lucky that the graduate scheme was quite comprehensive. So I'd actually been in Atkins before National Gas, that had my scholarship with them, and their graduate scheme seemed much more unstructured, I'll go with. But the National Grid one, once I joined, was very structured with the different roles, but also a lot of training. And it didn't really matter whether you were in the gas bit or the electricity bit at the time, you got training on all of it. So we got a detailed 2 weeks on gas distribution, we had 2 weeks on gas transmission, we had weeks on electricity. So we got a really good grounding in kind of the whole network and industry. And then I guess after coming off the sort of actual training scheme specifically, the rest of it's been more what everyone in the company has, which there's lots of different training that's kind of available internally. So we've done various ones like plain English writing courses, which have really helped with writing stuff for Ofgem. But then most people, I think most of what I've learned has come from doing the job and learning from the people around me. So I think there's a lot of great people that I've worked with that I've learned from by how they do things and teaching me how to do things and what it means. So yeah, I guess it's that classic, was it 70 20 10, 70% on the job, only 10% is training courses and structured stuff. But yeah, good people mostly.
Oh, good. And just see Peter's back in and out, I think. I was going to try and introduce him again, but dropped off again. So I think that element of support and being on a scheme is really helpful. Is there anyone else on the call on a graduate type scheme or of such at the minute?
I wasn't on the graduate type scheme, but I mean, National Grid and hopefully National Gas are going to be the same. They do have very good graduate schemes, no two ways about it. And they only pick the very best graduates, and the ones that don't meet the mark don't stay around very long. The ones that do make the mark have a very good career prospects indeed. There's a certain Nick Sides who was a graduate entry in Sheffield district office when I was working there as a clerk. He's done quite well, but we knew he was going to do quite well when he was in Sheffield. And I think John Butterworth used to work in Leicester as an engineer, probably gas distribution engineer.
Mm.
I don't know if he was on the graduate scheme or not. But,
I don't think so. I think
he
might
was a
come in
little
more
bit
on
more
the tools.
enthusiastic than most people. I think he did, yeah. I think he did.
Mm.
So, but they also had very good apprentice schemes as well, which we shouldn't forget.
No,
You know, I mean,
they're advertising those at the moment.
If you've got a gas board apprenticeship scheme, or even now a National Grid apprenticeship scheme, they're bloody good. You know, and they shouldn't be overlooked. I mean, we're talking about professionals here, but you know, you shouldn't overlook the apprenticeships. Me, I did it the hard way. I joined British Gas as you know, how I joined it. 10 years later, when they were breaking British Gas open, I was applying for jobs. And when I was looking outside for jobs, I realised they're paying like 50% less, which was quite a shock. And I also realised I'd not gained one qualification since joining British Gas. Now, I was actually a graduate. Still am a graduate, actually. I don't think they've taken it off me yet. So, you know, I thought that was pretty poor. So I started doing every bloody course I could after the split up with British Gas. And then I decided that rather than piddling about with these small things and training courses and that and qualifications, I went to train to be a chartered surveyor, which was the best thing I did. And the good old British Gas actually supported me in that. Right, good managers and poor managers, but it took 6.5 years to qualify. I think I could have clipped about 1.5 years off that, and I've been a little bit more organised myself. But they did give me the support, and they enabled it so that I could do it.
I think that supported development is really a really good thing. It's certainly something that I know that we within Caden do, but getting in and progressing is a really good avenue to get people down. And so Heidi, I know you mentioned Heidi that when you've only been in the industry sort of 1.5 years. What's your experience has been so far in terms of that development and getting that support within SAIF?
Yeah, it's been quite good, to be fair. Everyone's really helpful in the company. Everyone's literally a message away, reply quickly. Yeah, I'm on a civil engineering degree apprenticeship through the ICE and SAIF Limited. So once a week, just go down to the university to study, Coventry University. So yeah, in terms of support and everything, obviously having come from little to no knowledge of all of this, I'd say everyone's really helpful. Everyone's really helpful. Yeah, there's how much I can say. Really, yeah. If there are any questions, everyone's everyone's nice to me, helps me. They don't kind of shoot me down by asking questions. Just which is nice.
Okay, good to hear. And good to hear that some again an organisation sort of different to the sort of again going back to our committee of gas people at the minute. Great to get that different perspective of an organisation that's in the guild that is supporting that development and offering those sort of routes into the industry, which is really good. So I suppose on that theme of development and so Nicola, having come through a scheme, having been in a role for a number of years now, how do you help the development of the next generation?
Yeah, so I think by being on the committee, there's one way I can hopefully help by organising events and things. But then also, like, in my team wider within the business, we've got a lot of new members that have joined the company, and often it's around helping sort of coach them and mentor them, and helping to pass on knowledge that I've figured out along the way. But yeah, I'm not in any like structured mentoring type stuff, but we have quite a bit. I'm in a team of like 14 people, so quite a lot of them almost all of them are newer to the industry than I am. So yeah, generally passing on to them and anyone else that I cross paths with.
Great. I suppose just conscious of time, and we'll continue the conversation for another couple of minutes. But what I'm going to flash up on the screen is a bit of a feedback and some upcoming events that we've got going on. So really appreciate. I mean, the last sort of 25 minutes, half hour was absolutely flaming for me. No way have we had the amount of conversation I thought we would have had, just purely because of time. But it's great to get some thoughts and some insights into individuals. And so what I'd really welcome is some feedback on today and what you'd like to see next. Would you like these to be ran frequently? How frequently? Would you like to do them in breakout sessions and smaller groups? So really any feedback on this sort of event or any future events that you might have in mind, it'd be really, really welcomed. So I suppose I can't believe that we're at the sort of almost time up. I'll quickly go around for a couple of people that we've not heard from yet for any advice that you'd give to either yourself starting out of the industry or somebody else starting out of the industry. So I'm going to just go through people that I've not heard from yet. So David Rankin from Scottish Water, from a completely different perspective again. Any thoughts from your perspective around that piece of advice for somebody joining the industry?
That's a tough one. I think it's making sure that you're continually learning and not being stationary, I suppose, in your career. There's the risk of becoming complacent in a comfortable place, and there is no growth from a place of comfort. You know, I've recently moved to Scottish Water, and it has been very challenging picking up the intricacies of the business and the different way of working. And it's been difficult, but it has been a good experience. And I wish I'd done it a wee bit earlier in my career and moved about maybe a few more times to keep growing as an engineer.
Oh, that's great. Tom, from another Cadent perspective, I'm not giving mine, but it's not about me today, it's about you guys. So Tom, what about yourself? Any piece of advice? Any thoughts?
I mean, I started as a contractor 9 years ago within the workshops, just as an operative. So I mean, went direct with Cadent about 3-4 years ago now. And then in the space of 2 months, I think it was, I went from technician to supervisor. So it's been a bit of a learning journey for myself. I mean, going from technician to a supervisor within 2 months, it was a bit of a jump for myself. But I think, just learning off people around just helped me massively. I mean, even people out in the networks, you kind of learn off the people that have been there and done it. And it's just taking, not every bit of advice is good advice, not every bit of advice is bad advice. So it's just taking the good bits and the bad bits, and then just choosing, what you think's right. And I mean, my advice is, just try and someone starting out is just try and like listen in, learn off the people that have been there and done it before. I mean, you ain't gonna learn anything just sat behind your desk. You need to be out there and learning. I think that's the only advice I can give for someone. So
no, great, really useful. I think definitely a really important thing to listen and then ponder whether you to take that advice or not. It's definitely a good thing to think about. So again, really conscious of time. We have run out and are overrunning. So what I'm going to do, again, really final plea for any feedback. I've just popped the link if you're struggling with the QR code in the chat. Feedback really welcomed and really appreciated. And we'll look forward to doing this again. I certainly thought it was a useful event. Maybe a little bit longer next time to get some more discussion in. It's over before we know it. But thanks again for joining, and hopefully see you at some future pig events in the Midlands or nationally. Peace off, David. No, long way up to Scotland, I think. So thanks for your time, and hope to see you at a future event. Cheers all.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank
Cheers.
you. Bye.